Net. Short. Not bad. After a long day of fishing, we'll take that. Wow. Look at silver. Check the silver. You want a picture?
Yeah. Dude, that's like a 1.5 pounder.
Not bad, man. Good day. Well done, sir.
Thank you, net man. Turn it on.
Just turn it on like that, huh? Nicer?
Oh, power here.
Wow. Same one. Big head, big shoulders, little tail, right? Yeah. All right, big guy. Look at that. Here we go. Been out here all day long and we're finally catching fish. Guess they're going deep, right, guys?
I guess.
Still trying to get another couple, man. Good morning, welcome back to the Hicks Hooks channel. My name is Alec Hicks, and I'm going to give you my 2022 year in review. This year was definitely fun. A lot of good things happened. At the same time, a lot of bad things happened. And, you know, looking back on it, I feel there are some things that I want to do next year a little bit differently. And so I figure I might as well just give you my advice on how I did things and what I did right or what I did wrong. And maybe we can learn from each other here. So, to start with, my biggest fails or my regrets of the year. The first one would definitely have to be sticking my palm with a treble hook when I was out bass fishing in the Potomac. Wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. Had a treble hook hanging out of my pocket on a crankbait. Just turned around and I stuck it right in my hand. Didn't turn out too well. Ended the trip early. Good thing I had Kevin there with me and a big pair of pliers to pull it out with. But ended up end of the day at the urgency care. Getting a tetanus shot, getting it cleaned out, and getting all sorts of antibiotics. So that was not a fun trip. The next one I'd say was end of the year, trying to get some trout on the board, get some trout on the on camera, and went down to Mossy Creek Special Regulation Area. It's a beautiful spot. I've been there many times. Had good luck there. Sometimes, you know, just some small fish. Every once in a while you hook up with a big one, and they're tough to land because, you know, usually the bank's really soft and you sink in, so it's hard to get like a good spot at them to land them and to cast for them. Well, that day started off, Kevin broke his rod before we got on the river, so he borrowed mine. Got down a couple holes, moved a couple little fish out of the seaweed in the middle, and got down to a spot, and a bull was just sitting there, didn't really want to let me pass, and you know, I thought about the treble hook in my hand and said, hey, I can end this day on a better note. Maybe we should just go somewhere else. So before we were able to end it, Kevin, you know, it was an icy day and came back and he said, my pole, you know, your pole broke. So that right there, getting chased by a bull, 2 broken poles within like 2 hours of the morning and no fish on the board for a long trip. That made a tough trip down there. And then the last regret I have, which isn't that big of a regret, just something I, you know, looking back in retrospect, I'll build off my greatest accomplishment here for the year, was I caught a really nice striped bass, and I didn't take the measurements on it. Didn't weigh it, didn't get the length of it. Probably, if anything, I would have just liked to measure it to see how long it was, because that would have given me a good estimate size, and that way I wouldn't keep the fish out of the water too long, but didn't get the size on it, got it back in the water, got some pictures, got on film, so I was thrilled about that. And that would be my greatest accomplishment with my greatest regret attached to it. Last year I was able to get out 26 days. They might not have been full days, but they're all over the place. Shenandoah, the Potomac, the Outer Banks, some little creeks here and there up and down the East Coast in Northern Virginia, Maryland area, and down in Harrisonburg. So I got out plenty. Not the most I've ever gotten out, but I got out enough. And I was able to catch 16 different types of fish that I can think off the top of my mind. That would include hickory shad, American shad, striped bass, carp, largemouth, smallmouth bass, down the beach, whiting, bluefish, spot, stingray, skate, crappie, blue catfish, channel catfish out of the Potomac, then, you know, the bluegill, the sunfish, herring, little bycatch here and there. So I could keep going, but at least 16 types of fish that were exciting to catch and, you know, kept the action going. So every year I'm learning a little bit more, and it's really the experience of getting out there, you know, getting out there with buddies, learning from what you do right, learning from what you do wrong. And obviously, everyone wants to catch a nice fish. Everyone wants to get a nice picture with it. But at the end of the day, it's just about getting out, getting on the water, being out in nature, being out with friends, and just kind of taking a break from life and focusing on something else. And fishing is the best way to go. So here we go. My goals for 2023. All right. First, I want to fish more days than I did last year. Second, I'd like to catch more species of fish than I did this year. I don't think I threw any trout on the board last year. So that's going to lead into my third goal, is I'm going to try to diversify my fishing spots a little bit more. Give you guys a little bit more action on some streams. Hopefully get out on the boat a little bit more, maybe hit some other areas in the salt water, and you know, mix it up. So fingers crossed we catch some fish this year. Thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully you guys can learn from my mistakes, and hopefully you guys can build off my goals. And if you have anything you want to see, don't forget to leave a comment on the bottom. I'd love to hear from what you guys like to see. And also, tight lines. Get out there and go fishing. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe. Hicks channel is coming back strong again in 2023. Thanks again for tuning in. Let's go catch some fish.